Good morning, everyone. I'm Betsy Cameron, and I serve as the president at the Ebby Halliday companies. Let's wake up to expert insights with Soul Before Sunrise, my podcast dedicated to residential real estate. Today, I'm excited to welcome our guest, Rajeev Sajja. Welcome, Rajeev.
Thank you.
From the greater Philadelphia area, or the Philadelphia area. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Rajeev Sajja. I work as a Senior Vice President of Digital Marketing and Innovation at Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Fox and Roach Realtors. We're in the greater Philadelphia area. So if you've ever been to Philly, put a pin downtown Philadelphia, draw like a 60-mile radius. That's the market. So we're in like 3 states, about 65 offices and 4,500 real estate agents. So pretty large regional company. And I've been there 2 decades at the evolution of digital marketing and innovation, and of course, AI, which we're going to talk about.
Yes, that's our focus today, right?
Yeah.
I think you also lead the AI task force within your brokerage, and also an integral part in HomeServices of America and our AI initiatives as well.
Yeah, a lot changing in that space, so I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yes,
sure. Yeah.
yes. Well, I wanted to first ask, when did you first learn about chat?
So it's interesting. I mean, Thanksgiving 2022, I don't know what your listening audience was doing Thanksgiving 2022, but I had an entrepreneur, we were having turkey. And he said, Rajeev, you should check out ChatGPT. I said, what is that? And so after we finished all the turkey, I pulled up my computer and I got an account that weekend. Who launches a technology on a Thanksgiving weekend? I don't think they knew that this was going to be this big. But I then got into it and I didn't get off the computer for 3 hours. And I said, this is probably, I sensed it was going to be transformational. And I did a Monday morning video to all my agents to get an account and start learning new technology. And here we are.
And here we are. I know when I was attending a leadership training session in Chicago, Mike Staver was our instructor at that time, and he said, who all in the room has heard of ChatGPT? And this was fall of 23, so we just talked about that was almost a full year after, and most people had not. There were a few in the crowd that had, but he said, if you have not, you need to learn about it. And wow. And then you launched your podcast.
Yeah.
In January 24?
January 24, yeah.
Really focusing on real estate AI flash and really focusing on the basics of how to, prompting and really getting a lot out of putting it in. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot. I mean, obviously, AI is probably my first technology that I've encountered that has is growing at an exponential pace, right? 2 years in AI feels like a decade in normal technology for me. And most humans learn in a linear pace. And most people feel FOMO, Betsy, that they're not keeping up. I think the word that they should really focus on is like focus, not FOMO, and really move the needle along the way. And I felt there was a need for someone to educate real estate professionals and make AI approachable and actionable and not overwhelming. So I developed a deep passion for it, and hence the podcast, the newsletter, masterminds, and everything else that we're doing.
What do you think is the most critical skill that real estate agents need in order to thrive within the AI world?
To me, it's prompting fundamentals, or you can call it prompt fluency. And it's funny, when AI first launched, it was only text to text. Like you put in a request and you can collaborate with it, text back. But now there's text to images. Half of the images I create are with AI. Now there's text to video. So learning how to prompt it, and this is an age-old thing, Betsy, garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you learn to ask good questions, you'll get good answers. So learning prompting, and there's a word called prompt engineering, and agents get concerned, is it a technical thing? No, it's just conversation, right? If you can talk, which hopefully successful agents can talk a lot, right? So if you can just communicate with it, and I think you can be successful and learn prompting. And I think that's the critical skill that'll separate the good people that are using AI effectively versus the people that are not.
And let's kind of talk about education, because as a brokerage, you and I were talking the other day, and AI is not just another tool. It's something that is layered within everything we do. So we don't have a department for AI. AI is, we layer it in with all of our departments, and the education behind it really educating how to prompt, educating, what you can do. When I was in one of our field offices last week, I asked the agents, how are you utilizing AI? And most of it is kind of that foundational property description, social media captions to optimize their posts, and picture editing, and even, their comparative market analysis. They're using it in that field. So there's all different kinds of ways, and it's evolving.
Yeah, and I think the challenge, I mean, you lead a very successful brokerage with Ebby Halliday companies, and how many agents now?
1,800.
Yeah, that's a large brokerage. So how do you sort of evolve the company from thinking AI is like this side tech project versus a foundational capability?
Right. And I think that's a lot of that is mindset shift, right? Because, understanding that it's truly a mindset, how can it help? I mean, it's truly something that we want to implement to support our clients and our agents, and also operational efficiencies within the organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think every real estate company agent, consumer experience, doing things better and faster.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm a big believer in that AI's fundamental benefit is going to be collapsing time for real estate agents, right? So you can automate the mundane, so you can do more of the meaningful, which is really the client interactions and relationships. So if you could do more of that, the better it is for you. And I think I did, and this is a fun exercise for everyone to do. Like I did a Q1 of this year, Betsy, I did a look at all the things I do in my job, pre-AI, how much time it took me, and then post-AI, how much time it takes me now. And I've realized a 35% increase in my productivity. This is just Q1. I think I'm sort of north of 40 now, and I still feel I can push the envelope. But if you don't know the fundamentals of when to use it, how to use it, and more importantly, when not to use it, you're not going to gain that kind of productivity enhancement. And that's the journey we're all on.
Yeah, educating on when, how, and all of those things.
Yeah.
You had a podcast where one of your guests was talking about that, the mundane, the policies and procedures manual that, he said this would have taken us months, and we utilized chat, and, and I don't know if it was chat or if it was something else, but, and it took him 5 days. And I was so jealous because we had just gone through the whole process of updating our policies and procedures, and it did take months. It took months. So focusing on...
there's so many use cases there, right, Betsy? I mean, I think, so the way you want to think about how do you embed AI into a cultural thing, habits, right? It's individual productivity. And then the other piece is company productivity, right? Different use cases. So the way I've looked at it is, what are you doing that is repetitive, that is time intensive, and then that is data heavy? AI does really well with data. I get the other fun story. I gave it my YouTube channel the other day and all the metrics. And I said, do an analysis of this and tell me what topics are resonating with my audience that I should do more of, and what aren't, so I should do less of. Just a simple question. And within a couple of minutes, I had the answer. And so I think those are the kind of things that you want to raise your game, not just replace what you're doing. And then there are some things in real estate that people hate to do, that you need to do. Like I call it energy draining, So if any of these things fit those molds, those are the things you should look at how AI can help you. What are some things you're using personally as a leader?
I use it in email communication. I mean, lots of email communication. I use it in strategizing, and that's one of the things that I think research, strategic thinking, trying to find efficiencies within what we're doing. I think you said this, every time you're sitting down at your desk and there's an activity that's in front of you, think, is this something that AI can help and really take off my plate and bring time back? I love your word about collapsing time.
Yeah.
But that's, and then within our brokerage, it's built in, like I said before, really layering into our everyday workflow, right? Making sure that, our tools and things already have it built in. It's already baked in, right?
Yeah.
So really focusing on those things.
Yeah, there's a lot in the space. I think if you get overwhelmed, just start with something small, things that you're doing already. And everybody's done a listing description, as an example,
That's
right?
right.
We've all
That's
done
right.
at least one.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yes, hopefully, yeah. Otherwise, you should really do some of those, yeah,
Yes.
for sure. But the other early part of AI's people that were not in tune with AI is because they felt like didn't understand fair housing. It hallucinates, right? It lies with confidence. So if you don't know how to kind of test the knowledge, I think that's one of the things that you need to always have human in the loop. You are the real estate agent. AI is not. So you always need to make sure that it is accurate because it's your word when you put it out. And a fun story I'll share with you, Betsy. So they were making pizza at home. So the cheese was not sticking to the pizza. So they Googled, this is a year ago, on Google's AI overviews, they said cheese not sticking to pizza. And one of the answers was you should use 1/8 cup of non-toxic glue. Clearly, that's not what you want to do. But the reason, and that was what Google did was it looked at Reddit, which is one of the sites that it sort of searches, and some user was kidding with someone about the glue comment. So the point is, it hallucinates. It's not going to do that now if you ask cheese not sticking to pizza, and Google got into a whole lot of trouble, and they shouted. So it's a way to look at hallucinations, and I think they do a lot less now, but they still do. So you need to sort of proof it that way.
Right. Yeah. That's a funny one.
Yeah.
You've interviewed several agents and leaders on AI and real estate on your podcast. What's the biggest gap you see when it comes to educating agents and how to use AI?
I think, you lead a large company. I mean, agents for me are amazing human beings. They're connectors of people, but they're not really savvy with technology. So don't position this as a technology tool, position this as a business productivity tool. And to me, don't just teach and give them knowledge, find practical things they can do that collapses time for them. How can it help me on a listing appointment? How can it help me? Some people are scared of doing video. Part of video is being on a camera like this, which is a whole other fear people have, which technically you could clone yourself. That's a whole other topic I'm not going to get into. But getting scripts written is part of doing a video. AI can help you there. So I think finding pain points and giving them the unlock, I call them light bulb moments. The only difference between some of us and some of us listening are that I've just had way too many light bulb moments with AI, so I know what's possible. And it's just, once they get 1 or 2 light bulb moments, they'll go on their journey. And they'll find others, So I think just doing that unlock. So I do masterminds sessions where it's a hands-on thing. So, and I think to your company and even people that are listening, I think creating a culture of curiosity versus mastery, I think is where the reward is. And if you're curious, you're going to do stuff, and some's going to work, some's not going to work, but that's how you learn, right?
Be okay to make some
Screw up.
mistakes, and
Yeah,
that's right.
Sure.
That's right. And that's important, Well, in your experience, what misconceptions do agents have about AI that education could clear up quickly?
The first misconception is that we touched on this briefly, that it is not a technology tool, right? And it is not a technical thing for you to get a degree in. It is just more conversation. And you can't screw this up. You may get bad output. I call it AI mediocrity. But you will get better over time and get to AI genius, and 80% of the things I do is AI, but people don't know it's AI. And that's when you sort of be on that journey. So I think that's a common misconception people have, that, and it's overwhelming. So the more we can do to reduce the overwhelm and embrace, and just be curious, to your point. I mean, I had a Post-it note that you alluded to before. can AI help me with this on my computer for about a year? Now it's a mental post-it note. That's how you can sort of move your needle forward. So I think the common misconception is that, and nobody's an expert.
Right.
We're just power users. We're further down the journey. So start small, even if you've not started. But if you've started, and I think it's fair at this point in we're in August here, recording this episode. Everybody's used ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude at some level. The question is, how deep can you go to realize more productivity enhancements so you can get time off your plate, right? So I think just be on that journey.
Well, in education, we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
Education is key. And, if people fear something or don't trust it, then they're not going to use it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I mean, I kind of laugh about, when Venmo came out, Venmo and Zelle back in 2012. Don't quote me on that year, but I remember my sweet mom saying, I don't trust that. How's my money getting transferred? And, but now, I mean, it's a thing, It's a thing.
And I told my daughter, you should make your privacy settings on Venmo, but Venmo is entertainment for me sometimes. I just go on there and people are paying each other like stuff. And I said, oh, this is all public information. So you got to be careful. I think to your point, privacy is important. Ethical use of AI, responsible use of AI is critical. We talked about hallucinations earlier. The more you understand foundationally, you can call the bluff with AI. And I think that's when you start to elevate your game.
Right.
So let me ask a question. I mean, we're early in the AI transformation game for many companies. What is one blind spot you think companies or even agents that are listening to this podcast encounter with AI, and how can they overcome that?
Well, I think it's that cultural shift in what it can and can't do. And, AI, we both heard at T360 Steve Brown talking about how there are these, lines, the human side of it, the AI agent side of it, and then the robot side, which is way down the way. But really understanding that, a couple of things. They're not replacing the human element that provides that empathy, adaptability, that piece, visionary, thinking, emotional intelligence. AI is really the brainstormer and the research engine and the optimization piece. And so understanding that we parlay off of each other in being successful. So I think, really educating and removing that fear or the unknown, just the not understanding is important.
So fun story. My wife and I were having a debate. Would we buy a humanoid robot?
Oh.
So we were in line with, we will absolutely invest in a robot if it's going to clean the outside of our house, remove the snow. We're in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Steve Brown said there were going to be like 10 billion humanoid robots in the future. And again, to your point, the last mile of client relationships, if you protect that and add value and create memorable experiences, and the rest of it AI can help you with, you can do more of that for sure.
It's taking things off your plate, right? It's
100%.
not adding.
Yeah.
It's not adding. It's how do you take things off your plate?
To
help.
And you got to invest in education. That's the only way you can take stuff off your plate, right?
The client expectation is communication, recommendations, and really creating that high touch, service. And so AI can assist our agents in doing that faster and more consistent. And so I think that's where it'll be a huge added support.
For sure.
Yeah. How do we bridge the gap between agents who are eager to learn about AI and those who feel intimidated or resistant?
Great question. So I think this is the overwhelm piece. I think anyone that's listening, if you're an agent or you're a broker owner, I think it's paramount to develop some basic training methodologies and exercises and make AI learning fun, right? What if you could do this in AI and give us your output, and we'll give a price for the best output. So I think making rewarding curiosity versus mastery. I think most people, we live in a corporate world that rewards mastery and not curiosity. And it's a culture of being curious. And just the other day, I saw a post that said you could generate a QR code with ChatGPT. And they posted it. And for me, I mean, I have a tool that generates a QR code. So I said, let me just go try it. And it worked phenomenally well. I mean, you can't brand it like with your logo and all that stuff, but the QR code worked. So I think when you find something, give 30 minutes a day or a week, an hour a week, to just play with AI to see what's possible. And I think you've got to create that culture in yourself if you're an agent, and you'll find those things, those light bulb moments for yourself. So I think create, and not just giving them lectures, agents care about how is this going to help me get new business, right? How is this going to help me do a better listing appointment? How is it going to be better serve my clients? So if you can solve that niche and actually show them how it's possible, they can go apply it. So I think it's a combination of those things. Does that make sense?
Right. And you said something earlier that is spot on. Agents are humanist.
Oh, yeah.
That is where they shine, is the people part of the business and creating those relationships. So really understanding how the technical side can be handled with the AI support.
Yeah. So a good example is we're working on a few things. I'm sure you'll find out about it soon. We're working on when you're walking into a listing appointment, and if you're listening to this, you will do a lot of listing appointments, right? So what are the things that you need to know walking into a listing appointment beyond the data that you have on public record? So we're working on something where you can simply ask chat, I'm going into a listing appointment for 121 Main Street, and we'll send you a one-page report, more informed than just a basic public record. That takes time. You could do this, but it'll take time. This will take you 5 minutes. Just talk to it, and it'll just send it to you via email. So things like that.
So you created custom chats.
Yeah.
And one of the ones that I found super useful at the time was once the changes occurred with the settlement and
our settlement,
and how to have conversations with buyers and sellers. And you created one that helped with scripting that and staying compliant. And so talk a little bit about custom chats.
Yeah. So, when our journey starts with AI, every day when we start to use it, we start a new chat, typically. That's our basic behavioral. But the sooner you move to custom chats, which is, so let's say I have a chat with all things marketing my podcast, as an example. So it knows all that history. So you go to custom chats. Then if you have a paid account, you can build what we call as custom GPTs. So just think of them as chat GPT for a specific purpose. So we're here on a podcast. So I have a podcast prep custom GPT. And what it does is I simply give it a name of the speaker, and it generates for me a 3-line bio. There finds their social handles to include in the podcast, gives me questions to ask the speaker based on their background and my podcast mission, and episode titles. Now that would take me typically 30 minutes to do. Now I get done in 5. So finding those use cases. So we've done several GPTs. So if you have a free ChatGPT account, you could go to, on your left menu, you'll see GPTs. If you click on it and type my name in, you'll see all of my public GPTs. And I've published a listing appointment one, listing descriptions one. All they are is they're very trained to do one repeatable task. The newest one is storyteller. So if you have a client interaction, just share what that is and it'll build stories around it. Because good agents sell features and benefits. Great agents sell stories and feelings. Unfortunately, most people aren't good at telling stories, including me. So I use that all the time, to write stories about a certain experience. So I think custom GPTs are a great way to get into those streamlining things you do over and over again. So check out them, and eventually you'll build them once you get comfortable. They're not hard to build at all, very easy.
So we talked about curiosity is the key to getting started with AI. How do you foster curiosity in an industry that sometimes can be slow to adapt to change?
Yeah, no, this is a tough one, right? And change is the one constant thing in our life, right?
Right.
It happens all the time. And so to me, I think it starts with the culture of the company you work with. and the leaders. And you've done a great job. Obviously, we're doing this podcast here, but if you create a culture where you reward curiosity, it's okay to fail. AI is not going to be perfect. But I think embracing anything new, you got to create the wiggle room, for lack of a better word, where curiosity is rewarded and not just focus on the mastery. Mastery is going to come if you have a lot of curious people. And I think that if you just start there, and I tell people, everybody's on their own time zones. Like I came from the Eastern time zone, we're here in Central. Doesn't mean I'm behind the Central time zone people. I'm just on a different time zone. So all people are in different time zones in my mind in terms of AI adoption. Just start where you are. And the only word of advice I'd give to anyone with AI, not just real estate, is you just don't want to be in the same place this time next year. Just be better, and be on that journey.
If you think about evolution, what's happened just in the past couple of years with it, where did you start? And then,
oh Lord,
now you're here.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I mean, I think I'm probably blessed to live in this time, just because it sort of brings all the things together, and it's a transformative time. I mean, there's 3 transformative times in our lifetime for me. One is the internet, what it did to commerce and everything. One's the smartphone, and now it's AI. And I think AI is going to trump the other 2, just because of the impact. So it's a good time to evolve as a person, as a leader, as an agent, do better, and just stay hungry, stay foolish, right? I mean, it's the age-old saying as well. So,
okay, if you had a book to recommend, we talked a little bit about.
Yeah, so I'll give 2.
Okay.
I'll give since we're talking about AI, I'll give an AI one. So Jeff Wood, AI-driven leader, was a big unlock for me when I read it 18 months ago. From using AI as a search and answer engine, which is okay to use because there's some reasons you need. Jeff really unlocked how you can use AI as a strategic partner. It's not your only brain, it's your second brain, way smarter than anyone and one person I know. So that was an unlock. The other one is Unreasonable Hospitality. Is Will Guidara, is another great book, time-tested, and we're in the hospitality industry. We're in a taking care of people industry. So I think those are 2 books that are top of the line for me.
Right. I've just purchased the AI-driven leader, and I can't wait to dive into that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much, Rajeev, for your time today and sharing. We appreciate you. If you like the show, follow and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.